Thank you so much for joining me here on our school special. I had asked you to wear your favorite shirt because on the first day of school, I hope that you get to wear your favorite shirt. Now, even if you have to wear a uniform, I hope you wear your favorite shirt underneath your uniform shirt here. One of my favorite shirts is this Philly shirt because it's very soft here, and I like the colors. Now, even if you're starting school from home, that still doesn't mean that you can't enjoy your first day and even still get a little nervous about your first day. And it doesn't mean that you can't wear your favorite shirt. So I hope you wear your favorite shirt with us today just to get some practice for your first day of school here. Our first story today is Chrysanthemum, one of my favorite stories here. And yeah, look how long this word is here. That's actually her name. She was named after a flower. Okay? So I will need your help to tell all of our stories today. Meaning, if we're acting like a mouse, right, you'll need to pretend that you have a tail and that you have whiskers. If we're acting like a dinosaur, you'll need to pretend that you have claws here and that you really like eating ponies and maybe some other classmates. Or if we're acting like dogs, you'll need to roll around in the dirt here and have a grand old time with your long tongue. So, if you have your blanket, make sure you're under your blanket here, and you're going to try to make yourself very tiny because you're just a baby mouse and you're asleep. When Chrysanthemum was born, her grown-ups looked down at her and said, "Oh my goodness, she's perfect, absolutely perfect. She's amazing," said her father. "And what a great name, Chrysanthemum." Now you're waking up, your little mouse eyes here. And you're playing with your friends, of course. Squirrel here. The owl. And they all knew your name. The owl would hoot down at you, "Woo-hoo, Chrysanthemum, Chrysanthemum." The squirrel would chirp down, "Chrysanthemum, Chrysanthemum." Your friend, the fish, "Blub, blub, 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 Chrysanthemum, Chrysanthemum." You loved hearing your name. You loved seeing your name. You loved how long your name was. Your name was 13 letters long. What a great number. You loved that you were named after a beautiful flower, especially when you smelled chrysanthemums in the meadow. Well, time flew by really fast because it was your first day of school. And yeah, you were a little nervous here, right? But you had on your backpack here, right? You brushed your nice mouse ears, right? You checked your mice teeth. Make sure you don't have any carrots or cheese in there, right? You started skipping off to school here, right? As you went, you saw flowers. Chrysanthemum, chrysanthemum. You smelled nice flowers and trees, and the world was beautiful. You saw outside in the class window, oh, there were trees out there, right? Oh, look at the grass. You could see. Everything was great until it was time for the teacher to take roll call. Now, the teacher had her book, and Mrs. Chud was the teacher's name here, and she called out different names. Al, 2 letters. Max, 3 letters. Eve, 3 letters. Sue, 3 letters. Sam, 3 letters. Joe, 2 or 3 letters. Ken, Rita, 4 letters, right? Les, Victoria, Chrysanthemum. When she said that, there were some giggles from the corner. Well, there were 3 girls in class. Victoria, and Joe, and Kay. And they were the mean mice of the school here. Oh, jeez. You should have seen them. They picked up a book. And in the book, right, they looked up Chrysanthemum. And it says, "It's so long."
It barely fits on your name tag.
You're named after a flower.
Well, you can imagine Chrysanthemum's face. It was a shock. She froze. And can we see? Suddenly, you start to think, my name is really long. Look how long it is. Start to get a little sad. Look around. Didn't seem so sunny after that. It started to get a bit cloudy. Now, when it was time for nap time, all the mice, most of the mice were asleep. Except you were looking around. And Victoria, the meanest mice of all, stood up and said, Mrs. Chud, do you know that Chrysanthemum's name is 13 letters long? That's half the alphabet. Mrs. Chud said, thank you, Victoria. Please sit down. Victoria was very pleased with herself. Now, one mouse who was not very pleased with herself was Chrysanthemum. When the school day ended, she did not skip home. She did not look at the trees or smell the flowers. She just walked with her head hanging down. So can you show us sad? Your shoulders are slumped. You're looking down. You don't feel very good. You get home. Your grown-ups say, hey, how was the first day of school? And Chrysanthemum says, I hate my name. The other mice made fun of me. Grown-ups say, oh, no, your name is perfect. Absolutely perfect. Amazing. Amazing, this name here. It's long because it's grand. Just like you. That made her feel a little better. Now, for dinner, they had her favorite. They had carrot soup with nice cheese, and it was warm. And it made her feel pretty good. That night, in her bed, so be under your blanket now, she started to have dreams. She had some good dreams, but one in which she wished her name was Jane. Only 4 letters. That was the best one of all. Now, when she woke up here and rubbed her mice eyes here, everything was okay. She looked outside and saw her friend the squirrel. Mr. Owl had just returned here, and even though he was sleepy, he waved his wing. Oh, Chrysanthemum, hey. And you know what? She liked her name. Even when she got to school, she decided to trace her name, Chrysanthemum, in the dirt here. She started with her paw, And then she went to her foot here. So if you could you trace your name in the dirt? And then maybe trace it in the air so we can see it. Well, when she got to school, Victoria and Joe and Kay were climbing on the monkey bars. And because she had been tracing in dirt, well, she was a little dusty. Well, that Victoria said, she even looks like a flower.
Let's pick her.
Let's smell her.
Oh, man. It was not starting out. Day 2 was not any better. The whole day, your shoulders were slumped. Your head was down. You kept looking down and you were not having a good time. Now, Victoria and Joe and Kay, they were very pleased with themselves, and they were the opposite. They were sitting up. Their heads were held high. Their whiskers were up in the air. Oh, thinking my name's the best. And I'm not named after a flower because I'm amazing and I'm grand, right? Until it was time for art class. Now, it was time to take roll. It was the first art class of the year. Victoria said, Miss, that's Chrysanthemum. Her name is 13 letters long. She's named after a flower. And the teacher said, guess what? I'm named after a flower too. Well, you should have seen Victoria's face as it looked of Chrysanthemum perked up a little bit because everyone liked their music teacher. The music teacher said, yes, my first name is Delphinium. And actually, she was pregnant at the time. And she said, and if my baby's born, a girl, I'm considering the name Chrysanthemum. Well, you should have seen Chrysanthemum's whiskers rose up. She felt really good about herself. And Joe, at that moment, said,
Call me Marigold.
Kay had said,
Ooh, call me Carnation.
and Victoria said, call me Lily of the Valley. And since that day, all the students loved seeing the name Chrysanthemum. 13 letters, the perfect size name. So I hope for your first day of school that you feel really good about yourself. And I know, as a teacher, I love hearing students' first names, middle names, last names, even the stories of how did you get your name. Because all names are beautiful, they're grand, they're amazing, just like you. So I had asked you for this story to get a blanket and a backpack, if you have it, right? And you're still wearing your favorite shirt because it's the first day of school. So imagine that you are a dinosaur, which means that you have sharp claws, sharp teeth, and, well, you're on your couch or you're in your bed and you're thinking. You're nervous. It's going to be your first day of school, and you don't know what your classmates are going to be like. So let's see like a nervous and unsure face. You don't know what their names are going to be, and you don't know how many teeth they're going to have. But your grown-ups have tried to help you to success. Your dad has packed 300 tuna sandwiches. So open up your backpack and smell. Your favorite. 300 sandwiches and 1 juice box. You notice on your backpack here, you have a lot of ponies, and we're pretending. Why? Because ponies are delicious. So, it's about that time to go to school. Take off your blanket, put on your backpack. Walk in, open the door, and you look in your classroom, and you're surprised. Let's see a surprised face. All of your classmates are children. So naturally, you eat them. Let's see your long dinosaur tongue. Why? Because children are delicious. Just then your teacher says,
Penelope, did you eat all of your classmates?
Uh-huh.
Would you please not eat your classmates?
So, spit out your classmates. And now, pretend that you're a kid in class. And I don't know if you ever had a pet that licks you a lot or covers you in slobber, but that's what it feels like. You're all sticky. And you have drool coming down your face. Suddenly you look. It's a dinosaur. Not only are you a little scared, but now you're a little angry. This dinosaur is in our class? Ew. Can we see a gross face from you? Now, all day long, Penelope, we're back to being the dinosaur. Penelope, she tried to make friends. She looked over at her classmate. She couldn't stop thinking about eating them. At lunchtime, she said to her friend, Tom, you can sit right here. And you would think she was saying next to her, but no, it was on her plate. You can sit right here, Tom. Licked your lips. At recess, all the kids climbed up to the top of the sliding board and they were ready to slide down. And who was at the bottom, waiting to catch them? In her mouth was Penelope. She noticed throughout the day, though, that all of the kids would sit near each other and nobody sat near her. She started to feel a little sad. By the end of the day, when it was time to go home, her dad picked her up. He said, Penelope, how was your first day of school? She said, none of the kids wanted to sit near me. They didn't want to play with me. Papa Dino knew what was up. He said, Penelope, did you eat your classmates? Well, maybe, sort of, kind of, a little bit. Papa Dino, good advice. Penelope, people do not like to be eaten. That gave her a lot to think about. So you can go back to your blanket and think, well, if I don't eat the kids, then how will I make friends with them? The next day, she got into class, and everything was going good. She had her pony backpack on, at her seat, but she noticed at lunchtime, one of the students spilled some barbecue sauce on herself. Well, it was just too much. She couldn't resist. The shoelace was hanging out. She heard, "Ah!" The other kids were running. The teacher came back and said,
Penelope, did you eat your classmate again? Please don't eat your classmates. Spit her back out.
all of the kids avoided her. And then she spied another creature. It was Walter, the fish, who was by himself too. She went over to Walter and said, "Walter, will you be my friend?" She went to pet him, and all of a sudden, Walter grabbed hold of her finger. We're stuck! She's got my finger! She went to the nurse, got her finger wrapped up, but then she knew what it was like to be eaten. She tried what she could to make friends with the other kids. They played hide and go seek, even though all the kids always found her, because they always saw her tail poking out. She tried to share her tuna sandwiches. And she tried to her friends to Tom, sandwich? And slowly and surely, she made friends. But whenever she caught whiff of a tasty friend, she looked over at Walter, who grinned right back at her. And she got a little scared. Why was she scared of this fish? Why did this fish like to smile at her? Because dinosaurs are delicious. So, because some of us might be stuck at home for school, I wanted to do a story of how the creatures and the things around you can actually be very helpful for school. So for this next story, which is called Frank and Lucky Get Schooled, you're going to pretend to be a kid and to be a dog. So the story starts with when Frank got lucky. So here's Frank, and you're sitting on one side of, if you have a door, or we'll just pretend there's a door here, and you're looking at a little pup. I don't know if you have any pets, but when you first lay eyes on a pet, or even a toy, I bet that your eyes get real big. You think, oh my gosh, I can't wait to take that toy or that pet home with me and play with it. Now at the same time, on the other side, we have the pet. And the pet is looking at you. Wait a minute, pets don't sit like this. The pet's sitting and looking at you thinking, oh my gosh, a person. I can't wait to go home and play with him. The door opens and you run. And it might be very awkward at first, right? You might even fall as you run. You're happy. So if you can, practice being a really happy and awkward pet. In this case, a dog. Maybe your arms and your legs are too long for your body and you get tripped up. Now, you might think, wait a minute, for the person, how could a dog or a pet or a toy help me with school? But there's a lot of different subjects that a pet can help you with. For example, what if you have a writing project and you're not sure what to write about? Well, observe your dog, right? When your dog's outside, you might think, why is he digging? What can he find here? So can you pretend with your paws you're digging a big hole? Maybe to the other side of the world. You get down so deep that only the tail sticks up. Well, that could be great for science, right? What lives in the ground here? You can do a whole report on what your dog has dug up. The dirt, the grass, any worms that you might see, any type of rocks. Or maybe the dog sees a creature like a squirrel and he thinks, am I friends with that? Can I eat that? You can do a report on what do dogs eat? Who are dogs friends with in the wild? Who do dogs have to watch out for? So if they see maybe a bug here, you know dogs like to sniff anything. What type of bugs or creatures are poisonous to dogs? Should a dog be eating this? Now then, when nighttime comes, you might do a report on, well, why do dogs sleep upside down? So pretend that you're a dog here and you're sleeping upside down here. Your legs are kicking. What do dogs dream about? Pretend you have a math question. Your dog gets let in. You give him a treat. But there's 3 other people in the room, right? A brother, a grown-up, a cousin. If there's 3 other people and your dog has gotten 1 treat from you, how many more treats should your dog get? Now, of course, if you have a cat there, the cat's going to think, meow, which means 0, right? You might have a science experiment you could do. The one time your dog meets up with a skunk and smells horrible. You know how dogs are so excited when they stink? So let's see your biggest smile you could ever do as a dog. Now, the dog's in the tub. So as a human, you might think, okay, well, you're kneeling because it's in the tub here. What type of shampoo is best to clean your dog here? So make sure you scrub on the tail. Make sure you scrub on the legs here. If I use Mom's Fancy shampoo, is that the best for the dog here? Should I use this baby shampoo? What about the soap? Which soap should I use for the dog here? Now pretend you're the dog in the tub here. And you're getting your neck scratched. Somebody's washing on your dog leg here, right? They lifted up your ears, but you feel kind of wet, so make sure you shake it out. Right? Are you still smelly? Mom comes over. Oh, yeah, dog, you stink. So if you're, well, as a student, you can do a whole experiment for science. What type of shampoo helps out your dog here? There's so many things that you can do with your dog or with your toys or with any of your pets here. And as a teacher, I know that I would love to meet your pets, meet your stuffed animals, meet some of your favorite toys. Why? Well, because they have to do with you. And as a teacher, teachers want to find out as much as we can about you. So even if you're stuck at home, please show us all of your favorite stuff because it shows off your personality. Thanks for joining me here this week, and I hope you have an awesome school year.